We're live.
Hey everybody, really awesome to have you all here. I'm super excited about today's training. I've got Mark Dale here. Even though it's Thanksgiving in the States, I'm really super grateful he's offered his service to us, and I'm really pumped because he has a lot of value to give. I don't know if you've seen his stage time in Orlando, but that was pretty amazing, and I'm just really grateful to have him here and give us some motivation and value. So thank you, Mark, for being here.
Thanks, Sarita. I appreciate that. You guys, I'm fired up. I'm excited. I got to tell you, I was excited. I am excited, and I was a little bit nervous. I didn't know what to expect. The only time I get in front of a group that I was thinking, and I'm glad to see Stuart's here. Okay, but I'm like, hold it. I said, what am I getting pulled into here? I love meeting with a group of ladies. I absolutely love it. I was very excited about this. I was like, going to be a bunch of gals here to visit with, but I didn't know what I was stepping into. I didn't know if this was going to be a loving environment or a hostile environment. I didn't know for sure what was going to happen. So I was like, I'm there. I'm up for it. Cause here's the fun part. My wife, Terry, and I, we have a gym here in the States, in Minnesota, that's a studio exclusively for ladies only. So I'm used to the environment of being surrounded by a bunch of good-looking ladies. So I'm very excited to be here. No disrespect, Stuart, but this is the best looking group I've been with for a couple months. So I'm excited to be here. Thanks.
Yeah, so I think we're just gonna go with the flow and see what you have to teach us. And I have quite a lot of people here. This is our weekly team hangout. So we have for anyone that jumps in new. This is everyone on the team. We also do like just black card trainings, but this is everyone on the team. And anything that you can share that can help the team to get deeper into and get really path their way and empower would be awesome. Anything that you can share.
Oh, straight. Once you get me going, you just can't even stop me. I'll just go and go and go. I can go until the sun comes up over here. It's 7 a.m. in the morning here in Minnesota in the States. Most of all y'all are toward the Kiwi side of the globe. Is that right? Is that kind of like a yes or no? Is anybody over on this side?
We have the UK present as well. So Lucy's from UK, and also Kimberly here, and I think there's a few others from the UK. So we've got pretty much the whole globe present. Australia, New Zealand, Perth, Canada. States, pretty cool. So,
well, that's cool. So what I'll do is, as I brought it up before, my boy Gus is upstairs. He's just hanging out up there right now. But I'll call him down and we'll see how long it takes him to come down here and join us. I'll move the camera a little bit. So I'm going to point it right to the bottom of the stairs here.
Yeah, sounds good.
So you'll be able to hear me. You'll be able to hear me, and then you'll be able to see how long it takes him to run down here and find out what the heck is going on, because I'll call his name. We'll see. So I'm going to upstairs. Gus, come here. Gus.
And guys, make sure you take screenshots because this is a pretty special training. And
yes.
I'd highly encourage you to take some photos and screenshots, post it on your Facebook page because people get curious and they're like, what are you guys doing? We've got a little Gus present too. He'll be training us.
It only took you guys saw that. It took him about, he was a little slow there. He's a little early for him. So it took him about 8 or 9 seconds to jump down here. So here's the thing now he's down here thinking that there's something to do for him, right? So he's going to sit here by the window, by the door. And this time of year, he's been on squirrel duty, something fierce. The squirrels there's about 6 squirrels that keep running back and forth on our backyard here collecting acorn nuts for the winter, right? just the squirrels just drive him crazy. He goes crazy with them. So he just starts huffing at the squirrels, and he just doesn't know what to do with himself. So you might hear him give him a little chirp from time to time. So you guys, I want to share with you a little bit of my heart today, a little bit of my mind. I know that Sarita was talking a little bit about, you were calling it abundance. Was that right, Sarita?
Well, yeah, we don't really have a team name yet, have we? We just started doing these since Orlando. I started doing like our personal tribe. I'll put my personal team hangouts. You know, I'm just getting more trying to be a better leader for my team, because I've been, you know, we're still part of the Unstoppable Tribe, but I want to be stepping up and be a better leader. So I've been doing my own hangouts just for my personal team.
No, I guess what, and then I may have missaid it. Subject matter was abundance or
yeah, abundance is very much something that is kind of, I guess, part of the whole law of attraction thing. Cool. And the niche that we kind of, the most people that are here, we believe in abundance and want to attract more abundance in our life, all areas in our life.
Cool. Well, Sandra's got her helper here too. I can see that. What is that, Sandra? Who is that?
That's my little baby, and she's so sleepy.
Isn't that funny how we start baby talking our little pets? It's my baby, my little baby. Maybe we'll start rhyming it.
Yeah, like one.
So guys, I want to, I just kind of have, I like to tell some stories that make a point. If that's okay with you guys, they'll indulge me. I'll try not to put you to sleep or anything like that, but I have some stuff that's on my mind, and it'll kind of make a little bit of sense to you. I guess I'm going to share a little bit with you what I did a couple of weeks ago to the ladies at our gym. I was speaking to a group of women, about 60 ladies at our gym, and I kind of want to share with you a little bit of the message that I had there. And again, Stuart, no disrespect to you, but I'm seeing a whole bunch of ladies here, so if that's all right with you, I'm going to kind of be talking to the ladies, if that's okay. You guys, so let's take this from the point of view that what I want to share with you is the fact that as we go through life, we have to make a few. There's big things that happen in our lives. There's really big things like special events that for example, I want to use today as an example of this special event. Let today be a very special meeting. Let today be a very special event. Let today be Thanksgiving, like it is here in America, which is a big event. And so let this day of this date and this meeting and this time that you and I can spend together as a special event, okay? And here's my point. For example, there's so many times where we go through life and we hit a special event. Here's an example. Like a graduation. For high school or college or whatever the graduation was. When I was on my graduation day, everything up to before I got that piece of paper, I was behaving very differently. Okay, I was non-graduate. I was not a graduate of high school, for example. All of my life up before that day, I was not a graduate. Okay, I didn't behave like a graduate. I knew I was not a graduate. I knew I didn't have my diploma. Everything was very, very different. But then I asked myself, what was really different? Well, here's what was really different is that somebody somewhere who had authority to grant me a diploma had given me a diploma that day. So I walked up on stage. I received my diploma, and then I moved that little tassel from one side to the other like they do in the diplomas. And all of a sudden, from that day forward, my life was completely different, okay? My life had totally changed. I was a graduate, okay? Now, what was really so much different? What was so different? Well, what was different was my point of view on how I saw myself, okay? Now, was I a lot smarter because I got a piece of paper? Not necessarily. But what was I? I was actually formally very, very different. It was a big event that changed how I was before the event and how I was after the event. Okay, it was a big deal. Okay, another way to put it would be if any of you have been married before, okay, or are married. Okay, when I met my wife Terry, I was single, and I behaved like a single man, and life for me was that I was single. Now I made a decision to propose to her pretty darn quick, and we got married pretty darn quick. And here in America, a lot of people fly over to Las Vegas and they elope and they get married in Las Vegas, and we just had done it because Terry and I had both been married before, and we didn't want to have to go through the regular wedding and stuff like that. We just didn't need that in our life at the time. But I'm getting on a plane to go to the courthouse to get married to at that time my fiance. But everything was different. Okay, so I think you guys are starting to track with me a little bit that there's something that's different. I went to the courthouse in Las Vegas. I stood in line. I got my paperwork, and then we drove our limo over to the Little White Chapel and got married. Okay? Now, what's so different that day is I was single. I could behave as a single man. There was not a problem with that. I was single. But as soon as I got married, everything changed. That was this huge defining event, this huge change in my life, because there was a preacher that said, by the power vested in me, I now pronounce you man and wife. And now from here forward, everything is completely changed. Okay. I guess my point is that you've got to understand that there comes a time in our life that everything up to that point, you've been very, very different. So I want to talk with you a little bit about your business. I want to talk with you a little bit about your life. I want to talk with you a little bit about, where you've been up to this point, this day, this meeting in your life. If it hasn't been how you want it to be, and that's okay. Sometimes that happens. People don't have everything they want. They don't have a perfect business. They don't have a perfect home life. They don't have a good work life. They don't have a lot of the things they want. But here's what I want to share with you, is that from one simple change from the point of view, okay, or one person who has authority to say, by the power vested in me, from here, behave differently, things can change in an instant. Things can very, very much change in an instant because of somebody granting you the authority to behave differently. When I got married, I'm different. Does that make sense? I'm different now because I'm married, because I made the commitment to my marriage and somebody pronounced me man and wife. I'm different. Before that, I could have got out of it. I could have behaved as a single man. But is there something that really changes in us? Okay, or is it something that changes because somebody has authority to make our life different? Okay, so here's what I'm driving at. There's another example on what I'm trying to say here. You guys all have the movie. Y'all seen the movie or heard of the movie Wizard of Oz? I just get some handshakes or thumbs up. You guys have seen this movie Wizard of Oz back in the day, the original one. Okay, not that new one, but I'm talking about what happened in that movie. Was the Scarecrow just was didn't have a brain? Okay, the lion didn't have any courage. The Tin Man didn't have a heart. And Dorothy couldn't get home. She had no way to get home. So they were all headed toward trying to figure out how they could get courage and how they could get a brain and how they could get a heart and how they could get home. So they thought to themselves, we got to go catch the wizard. The wizard's going to be able to fix us all. And if we can go find the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz, the wizard, because of the things he does, is going to fix us. Okay. So let's all follow me. We're going to find the wizard. Okay. So in the movie, they all start marching along, fighting all the wicked witches and stuff like that. But they're headed over to Oz to go hook up and meet up with the wizard, because they all think that the wizard is got it in him to change them, right? So finally, when they get over to the wizard and they meet with the wizard, and they're very impressed. If you guys remember the movie or not, it was an amazing time for them to visit with the wizard, because he was the all-powerful wizard, and he was going to cure them for whatever was ailing them, because up until that point of meeting the wizard, they all had ailments. Okay, they all thought they had a bad rap. They all thought they didn't have what it takes in life to continue, so to speak, if I'm saying it right. So they go off and meet the wizard, and they get in front of the wizard, and this wizard was this grandiose thing, and they were amazed, that they were impressed, and they were like, oh my gosh, the wizard is the best thing. And the wizard was trying to be scary a little bit, and all of a sudden, here comes Toto, right? Toto goes over behind this curtain and just yanks on the curtain, and all of a sudden, the wizard is revealed to who he really was, right? Okay, so now the wizard is there just going, oh, trying to pull these strings, and now everybody can see the fact that the wizard is not exactly who he is. He's not as though he appears. He's just a regular person. He's a regular guy that's well-intentioned, but he just thought he had to hide behind the cloak and this big to-do wizard. You guys get it, right? You get all this, right? So all of a sudden, he's exposed. The wizard is fully exposed, and he's kind of embarrassed. He's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. You know, you guys found me out. The gig is up. You know, I'm sorry. And then they're all disappointed, because they came there looking for courage and looking for a heart and looking for a brain and looking a way to get home, you know, because right now their life is screwed, because now they're finding out that the wizard was fake, right? But they all thought that they needed to go to the wizard to get fixed. Sometimes we always think that we got to go to the wizard to get fixed. So here's what the wizard does. And the wizard was very, very well-intentioned. He's a very nice wizard, okay? So you guys remember this? The cowardly lion. He's like, oh, I'm so scared, and I don't know, and blah blah blah. The wizard's like, look, bud, come on. He's like, look, the only reason you don't have courage is because you don't have a medal. Because everybody who has courage has a medal, right? And the lion's like, well, I think you're right. Well, the wizard's like, well, I know I'm right, because I know everybody that has courage has a medal. He goes, well, let me go grab a medal. So he grabs a medal and puts it on the lion, right? And the lion's like, yeah, this feels good, right? I got my courage. And the wizard's like, by the power invested in me, you now have a medal, and you can be going through life as a courageous lion that you're supposed to be, right? Now, let's be honest. Did anything really change for the lion? Not really. Okay, not really. But by the power invested by the wizard and giving him this little medal, all of a sudden he owns courage in his mind, in his spirit. He's a very courageous lion now. Well, guess what? He had it in him the whole time. Well, here's so the scarecrow, right? The scarecrow's like, I'm an idiot. I don't have a brain. I'm a dummy. You know, I can't think straight. Well, the wizard's like, yo, look, I understand you might think you don't have a brain, and the reason you don't have a brain is because you don't have a diploma. Because everybody who's smart has a diploma. So let me dig into my basket here of goodies, and he digs out this diploma, and he gives it to the scarecrow, and the scarecrow is like, oh my gosh, I've got a diploma now. I'm really got a brain now because I got a diploma, and this is just a wonderful thing. E equals MC squared, and he just goes off thinking and starts talking about how smart he is because of one thing that happened, because the wizard gave him a diploma. And now all of a sudden, because he's got a diploma, he's really smart. Well, let's look at it. Is he really smart? Did anything really, really change? No, absolutely not. But because somebody granted him the authority, and by the authority vested me as the wizard, go and behave like a smart person, go and behave like someone who has a brain, okay? It didn't change for him, but he got a diploma. And now he's thinking, well, I'm smart now, because every smart person has a diploma. And the lion's like, yeah, I'm super courageous because I got this medal. So everybody who's got a medal for courage and valor is very brave. Well, guess what? The Tin Man is just feeling down by now. He's like, this sucks. My life sucks. Tin Man's like, I can't love. I got no love. I got no heart. I don't have any feelings. Well, guess what the wizard does? The wizard hooks him up, right? You guys were there. The wizard's like, yo, look, Mr. Tin Man, the reason you don't have a heart is because you can't hear it tick. And everybody who's got a heart, you can hear it tick. And your ticker's missing. So by the power invested in me, he goes to his goodie bag and he pulls out this clock, right? And he's like, well, here's your ticker, right? And here comes the Tin Man's like, oh my gosh, I can hear it ticking. I must have a heart. Now I can feel, and now I can love, and now I can experience joy. Well, what was different? Well, it's not because of the wizard, because he gave him a ticker. It's just because it was in him all of the time. He just had to have somebody who, by the power invested in me, you now have a heart. Now go on and live a loving life, right? So now all three of them are hooked up. They're ready to go. They're good to go. By the power vested in me, you have courage, Mr. Lion. By the power vested in me, you have brains, Scarecrow. By the power vested in me, you have a heart to love people, Mr. Tin Man. Well, guess what? Dorothy's hanging out there with Toto trying to figure out, gosh, I just want to get home. I just want to get home, right? And you guys know how the story goes. Dorothy's screwed, but then here comes the Good Witch again. She's like, oh, Dorothy, come on over here and let's talk a little bit about how we're going to get you home, okay? We see that the wizard lost the balloon. The balloon went up and he left you behind. You guys were headed over to Kansas, but the dude, left you, right? You guys saw the movie. So she's like, well, this sucks. I can't get home. Well, here comes the witch again, the Good Witch. And she comes on over and she's like, look, Dorothy, you had it inside you the whole time, right? She's like, you had it inside you the whole time. Now, Dorothy, listen up. Here's how this is going to go. Close your eyes. Think the good thoughts. Click your heels 3 times. And think there's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home, right? Well, now what's changing? Is she really not home? It's a fun movie and all. But you guys, I guess my point in all this is that when you can have something that changes very much because of the circumstance, and when you can go through an experience like going through a graduation, because before you were graduated, you didn't have a diploma. After you graduated, you had a diploma.
Yeah, in a little while.
What's that?
I just muted. It's okay. Somebody was unmuted.
Okay, that's fine. I'm sorry. I thought I heard. So, after you get married, you behave very differently. You behave as a married person should behave differently. Okay, there should be a huge change in your perspective because someone said, by the power vested in me, now go on and behave differently. If that makes sense. So here's my point: is that if you can do it, if you can figure it out, if you can understand that you can let today be a changing day. You can let today be a day that changes you. You can make the decision that today's going to be a day, okay, that moving forward, you can be better, okay? You guys know how that song goes. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz, because of it's a catchy tune. Okay? So here's my point here, gang. You have it inside of you. You really, really do. You have this power to succeed inside of you. You have all this abundance inside of you. You have everything you need inside of you right here, right now, today. You just might not think you do. Okay? Now, I've been there, and I'm trying to be honest with you right now. I'm trying to tell you, man, if I was perfect, I would be loving life, and I just don't have any problems in my life at all, and I'm perfect. Well, that's not how it is. Okay? It's not that way for me. Okay, so I have always had the doubts in the past, and I've had it. I'm not quite sure what to do. I didn't know what to do. I don't know how to do the business. Okay. Now I get it. I see Jones probably I probably see him 4 or 5 days a week. It's not as pretty as it thinks, but you know, it's the way it is. I bust his chops, he busts my chops, and we hang out all the time. So I can assure you, I'm not perfect, and I can assure you, he's not perfect either. Okay, we're humans. Now, here's my point, and I'll put a bow on this and wrap it up a little bit. But the point is you need to understand something that I'm going to try to drive home right now that's very, very important. If you feel like you've been struggling up before today, and let this meeting be the decision, let this meeting be meeting with the wizard, so to speak, okay? Now, here's what you need to understand. And here's the perfect point, and here's the point that I'm trying to make. It's not because of me that you're going to move forward and behave differently and behave successfully and behave with brains and behave with a heart and behave with courage, okay? It's not because of me that's going to do that, okay? When you guys hear that song, we're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz, because of the things he does, okay? No. Here's what I want to encourage you all today. This is very important that you hear me today, that you feel me today, that you understand what I'm saying. You got to rework that music. You got to rework that song a little bit. Okay? Okay? You are the wizards. Okay? You are the wizard. We're off to, I'm off to be the wizard. The wonderful Wizard of Oz. I'm off to be the wizard because of the wonderful things I does, right? Do the rhymes and figure it out, okay? But you guys, okay, so whatever, it'll be fun. By the power vested in me, okay, whatever, it'll be fun. By the power vested in me, I now pronounce you're your own wizards, right? You have your own courage, you have your own brains, and you have your own heart, and you have your own ability to do the business because it was in you all of the time anyway. You just needed someone to tell you you have it. Now, today's Thanksgiving, and today's a meeting, and today's the first time I'm hanging out with a whole bunch of good-looking ladies, and I'm very, very excited to be here, okay? We talked about that, Stuart. But look, let this be the event that needed to happen. Let this Thanksgiving Day be the day that we can give thanks that this finally knocked something loose in my head. And maybe if I only get to one of you today, that's fine. I'm okay with that. But if today's the day that you can decide to be your own wizard, understand that that's inside of you the whole time. We just needed to dig it out a little bit. You needed someone to give you the medal, and I'm giving it to you. You've got the courage now. You needed someone to give you the brains. Well, here's your diploma, okay? Well, gosh, I needed the heart to do this. I don't know if I can do it. I don't have the internal fortitude. I don't know if I have the heart. Well, come on, here's your ticker. You just got to hear it ticking. Well, I got to find a home. Well, I'm telling you right now, Sarita's got a home for you right here. You guys are family. Y'all click your heels 3 times right now, and there's no place like home. There's no place like home. And I'm telling you right now, you got one. I'm telling you, you guys are very, very powerful as a group. And it's my honor to be here. When Sarita asked me, could you come on over and talk to the ladies? I'm like, of course I would. I'd love to. I'm very intimidated by a group of ladies, but I'm okay with that now. I'm totally fine. But you understand. I'm telling you right now, there's no place like home, and you have a very, very good home right now. Okay? So you know, it kind of sounds fun, but by the power vested in me, you know, as the father of the Black Card Club, okay, whatever, okay, I get you. Jones and I came up with that 3 years ago. Just my idea. I'm like, I'm going to have a card-carrying club. I want everybody that's doing this thing and really high level, and then we're going to do this card, and I'm going to have everybody do these cards. Jones is like, yeah, we should make it a black card. I'm like, I don't give a shit if we make it a black card or whatever card club. It's fine. I said, I just want to make sure that we have a group of people that have a card carrying club membership that are at the top of the game, making a whole bunch of money, having a whole bunch of fun, doing internet marketing business with Empower Network. He's like, yeah, let's do it. I'm like, okay, perfect. So 3 years ago, the Black Card Club was born. All right. So by the power vested in me, because my card has number 1 on it, Jones's card has number 2 on it. So by the power vested in me, I now pronounce you all successful internet marketing entrepreneurs. Now, go off and behave like it. Because today was the day that needed to happen. This day of Thanksgiving was the day that needed to happen in order for you to see on the inside that you really do have what it takes. You really are already in a spot to succeed. You have the courage now. You have the brains now. You have the heart now. And with Sarita running the show and helping you guys be a family, you have a home. And there's no place like home. Does that make sense? I hope this makes sense to you guys. I hope you understand where I want success for all of you. So many times in this industry or in this business, people think, I want their money. And that's not what I want. I don't want their money. I want their success. They think I want their money, so they go donkey leg, and they're like, well, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to buy this stuff because I think you're just trying to talk fast and separate me from my money. Well, there used to be a time in my life where I'm like, no, please don't leave me. Please, no. I'm like, right now, I'm like, you're an idiot. Goodbye. I'm not here to take your money. I'm here to speak the truth and tell you the things that you need to hear in order to succeed in this business. If you don't believe me, that's your problem. Okay? Because I don't have it in me to deceive people, to try to separate them from their money just because I need to make a buck. That's not where I operate from. My point of operation in my business, my point of helping is to help them succeed. Now, in order for you guys to understand that, and in order for them to understand that, they need to be committed in the business at the very highest levels. Because the people that are at the lower levels are not committed to it as a business. They're committed to it as a lottery ticket. They're committed to it as a try it and see what happens. Those people that are committed to it as a try it to see what happens end up being a statistic. They end up quitting after a month and a half or 2 months because they don't know what to do. They're not plugged in. They have no idea what to do. Right now, I'm just guessing. I'm only guessing. And I do not know for sure, Sarita. But I'm guessing the majority of the people that are plugged in, tuned in, locked in, listening in today probably are somewhere at the higher levels. Okay? And this is the choir. The people that need to be listening to us, the people that should be here are not here. And that's the annoying part. We always think back to ourselves. Where the people that should be hearing this are not even here. You know, I'll be talking to a group of ladies at our gym, and they all start harping on me. And after the end of the talk, I hang out and stick around with them, and they're like, I wish my husband was here to hear you kicking him in the butt. I'm like, yeah, I wish he was too. You know, stuff like that. So we always end up thinking, well, gosh, where are the people that need to hear this message the most? Well, they're not here because they're not plugged in. The people that are plugged in are here. So you guys, it's my honor to visit with you. It's absolutely a treat. So let today be the day that happened. Let today be the day that had to happen that none of us saw coming. None of us saw this coming. It's Thanksgiving. And by the power vested in me, like I said, as owning a black card that has the number 1 on it, and there's nobody higher. There's nobody higher. I'm telling you, by the power vested in me, go off and be successful wizards. in the business. Be your own wizard. I'm off to be the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz, because of the wonderful things I does. All right? It's what's on my heart today, guys. I'm trying to speak to you from my heart. I don't always know what I'm going to say. You know what I mean? I don't always know what I'm going to say. I don't. If we have time, Sarita, and anybody wants to make comments on what I was saying or has questions about what I was saying, you guys, I'm yours. Okay. Terry's upstairs sleeping right now. I told her she wanted to, that was her main goal today, was to sleep in. So I'm like, I just ducked out of the bed early and came on down here to visit with you guys. I told Gus to keep it down so he's not going to be yelling too much.
I just want to say that I'm super grateful. Yeah, super grateful to have you sharing. This was really, like, I know that The Wizard of Oz is a very, 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 very powerful movie. And I got lots of lessons from it over the years. And I just really want you guys to take it in. And if you have any questions, please, we're very, very blessed to have Mark here sharing with us on Thanksgiving. So, come out if you have any questions.
Yeah, anybody, anytime. I mean, whatever you got. If it goes silent, I've never seen a room full of women go silent. I've never seen that ever once in my life. There's no way that even happens, that a group of women go silent.
It's okay. You can unmute yourself. It's all good. No silly questions. No such thing. I'm going to say I love the analogy. I love the Wizard of Oz analogy. Just saying. I just think it's great. We already have it. We already have it inside.
Yeah, for sure. Guys, can I just jump out? Mark, I just want to say that I've been religiously addicted to your elite training every week. And then, when you said go and read the Jab, Jab, Right Hook, I mean, I went through a lot of years of abuse in which I find it really, really hard to read and keep my mind on it without being distracted. But because you said I had to do it because, it would change everything, I went and did it. And then I knew that I had to jump on today to listen to your next message. And lo and behold, I think the block that I've been having for the last week is pretty much this, is the fact that I'm waiting for somebody to say, no, Kim, go on, you can go ahead and be successful. When really, I already know it. But for some reason with me, I always look for approval from somewhere else. So, yeah, thanks for upgrading me. I'm off. I'm going to go and do it.
I love that. Kim's the wizard, right? You're your own wizard. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm the wizard.
May as well. I mean, really, may as well. You're your own wizard. I'm off to be the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz, because of the wonderful things I does. Thank you, Kim. That's fantastic. I appreciate that. Keep tuning in. Are you just at the elite level, or are you at the higher six-figure or black levels?
No, I went all in. I went all in back in, I think, September, I think it was. But yeah, I keep taking myself back to basics and coming all the way through it again, because each time I do it, I'm learning something new every time. I'm picking up
right.
that I didn't get the first time.
Gotcha. Well, I appreciate you guys coming to watch me on my trainings. I get a little bit going and start shooting arrows all over the place and get crazy over here. But again, I'm always going to speak the truth, and I'm always going to speak it from my heart. If that's okay with you guys, I'm going to continue to do that. Sometimes people need a little bit of a kick in the butt, because it just comes from the truth. And as long as I keep coming from the truth, sometimes a little bit of tough love is okay, if that makes sense to you guys. But thank you, Kim. Yeah. I appreciate the kind words.
Yeah, I highly recommend anyone who's at the elite club level to make sure you watch Mark, because he is amazing, and it is all about the tough love, because we all need it. We all need to hear the truth. We can all pretend like we're talking about the weather and how it is all so fluffy and lovely and stuffy, but our life's not going to get in there that way. So listen to Mark. He's it's like, it's good to get the tough love, because that's true love. If you really want to change your life and make it better, you got to sometimes the stuff may make you a little bit uncomfortable, but it's the truth, and it's the only way you can change. So I truly appreciate. So anyone else jumping out here? We're very blessed to have Mark.
Carrie, I got Chris Jones tissues over here. Do you need you good? Is that I have my he hates when I pull these out. These are my Chris Jones tough tissues.
And Chris Jones is awesome, by the way, too.
He's okay.
No. We're super lucky to have Mark here. So anyone has any questions or anything that they would like to share because of what Mark shared today?
Yeah, you guys, anything you need to know, about the work, the company, the stuff, I can answer questions that don't give away what's coming with Titan. I can give answers on a lot of stuff because I know a lot of the stuff. So if you guys are wondering about stuff, you guys want to know about that, don't you?
I'm super excited. I'm super excited about Titan. I know it's going to be amazing.
See, so let me ask you.
Every time I do very much trust in the company, so go for it.
so if if we started getting our hands on stuff that almost every single entrepreneur on the planet wanted to have because they were an entrepreneur, would that be exciting? Would that be amazing? If we started being able to supply the planet with entrepreneurial tools that every single entrepreneur on the planet would want, would that start to get exciting? The answer, heck yeah. The answer is amazing. So stuff like that is coming. I know I can't really get into the details, but I will tell you this. Y'all are in a very good spot right now because when this thing comes out and comes live, y'all are in position to ride that enormous wave of it's going to be like a tidal wave of very busy good business and income opportunities for all of us. So it's going to be very, very exciting. And you all here now are in a very good spot because you're in front of the wave. You know what I mean? They always say you want to be in front of the wave of opportunity, not behind it, right? You know what I mean? It's very common in America right now. The ones in America that are still in charge of the economy over here is the baby boomer generation, right? Because of everything that happened back in World War II when all of the GIs came back from Europe and they all came back from the Pacific. They made a whole bunch of babies. So in America, we have this enormous population growth called the baby boomers. Well, right now, the baby boomer generation is getting older. So if you want to produce products that the baby boomer generation wants, you get in front of that wave. All you have to do in America is get in front of the baby boomer generation. And if you're in front of them, because at one time back in the 70s, they were all buying, Ford Mustang cars, stuff like that. The fact is that as long as you're in front of the wave right now, I think they're all starting to buy a whole bunch of those powered wheelchairs because they're getting older. I mean, if you're in the business of selling powered wheelchairs, you're going to sell a whole bunch of them. So never mind. Now I'm just starting talking circles. I'll shut up.
I have a question. Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Hi, Mark. It's Serena. I'm over in Australia, over here. But I just wanted to ask you something of advice, really. What would be I've got 4 kids, so sometimes life gets quite crazy and busy in the day. So if you had one main thing that you do each day, what is that with the business?
How old are your kids? Just curious. Is that okay? Can we talk about your kids?
Yeah. They're 11, 10, 8, and 18 months.
Okay, so can you sell them or get rid of them, or can you put them to work? Can you put them to work to try to provide for the? I mean, you can put the 11-year-old to work. I mean, you can work them.
Yeah. Well, 2 of them actually did go to work tonight in a Christmas parade, so they actually got paid to do that. So halfway there.
Okay. Well, I'll give you my opinion on this one if that's okay.
Yep.
My opinion is it more of a time challenge or a structure challenge in the kids'
Well,
way and mess up?
Sometimes, like I can do great. I've sort of have a schedule, and then obviously with the 18-month at home, because the other 3 are at school, some days can just go down. And then I at least want to be able to do one thing every day, you know, being proactive in the business and everything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So here's what I want to share with you, and it's going to be a bit of a challenge. So you're going to have to rise to the challenge.
Yep.
I would pick 1 or 2 things that are mandatory. Okay. That are, you cannot continue your day without doing them. It has to be a priority for your business and a mandatory must do. It has to be as mandatory as feeding your children.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Do you feed them?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay. Right. I'm saying I've never met a mother on earth. I've never met a mom that's not wanting to feed her children. Right.
Yeah.
It's a priority. Right. It's a huge priority, and you wouldn't not feed them. So what I want to encourage you is to whatever, maybe 1 or 2 daily business activities, you have to rise them to the priority level of feeding your children. It's like it has to happen. It's not like it can't happen. It's not like it should happen. It's not like, well, I'll see if I can get to it happen. It has to be an equal priority as feeding your children. Ladies, is there a higher priority than that? I'm not quite sure in the mom world of feeding your children. So here's my point. Pick whatever that is. Okay. Pick whatever your priority is, either the blogging or the Inner Circle audios or whatever it is. Okay. And I'll trust that you'll decide whatever your priority is. Okay. Now I would look around this group, find out who you might be closest with. Or right now, one of the ladies might raise their hand and say, look, I will be your accountability partner. Okay, because here's what happens. Once you come into an agreement with an accountability partner that's actually not going to give in to your BS excuses, okay? Yep. And then you can hold each other accountable to your highest level priorities. Now you've got someone that you actually have to answer to. Kind of like your children when they're hungry, you have to answer to them, right?
Yes.
For me, that's me and Chris, right? Okay, Chris is my accountability partner. Okay, I'm his accountability partner. When he and I say we're going to do stuff for each other, okay, and we don't do it, if I don't do it, Jones is busting my chops right away. Okay, he is. He busts it. Well, guess what? If he tells me he's going to do something and he doesn't do it, well, I'm on him. I'm like, dude, no. We got to do this. Okay. And if he wants to give me some sort of bullshit excuse, or some BS excuse on why it is that he's not going to do what he agreed to do, I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. I do not buy his excuses. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, perfect sense.
Here's what I've discovered in the ladies' world, right? So I don't mean disrespect, but here's what I'm going to tell you I've discovered in the women's world, and this is a big group of ladies. Again, no disrespect, Stuart. Here's what I've discovered amongst women. You all are very, 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 very good and very, 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 very fast at being empathetic with each other. You all know exactly what it feels like to be a mom. You know exactly what it feels like to have children that make your day get away from you. You all know exactly how it feels because you all have been there, right? I'm starting to see a whole bunch of heads nod up and down. You know what it's like to be a lady. You know what it's like. So what you do right away when your girlfriends are talking to you is you go, oh, and you put your arms around them and hug them and say it's going to be all right. And then you let them get away with their reason why they're telling you that they couldn't do the business. You're instantly empathetical. And I love women for that. I absolutely do. That is a strength that you ladies have. typically over men. We are not as empathetical as you all are. So here's what I've seen happen. Women will let other women get away with the accountability because they're empathetic. If I'm saying it right. And you all have to start nodding your heads to understand that you can let each other off the hook really fast because you understand what the other person was going through. Because you understand and because you're so empathetical, it often leads to a harder accountability agreement, if I say it right. Because you're so, okay, well, let's just start tomorrow. You know what I mean? Whereas men, we're like, dude, don't bullshit me. Don't give me all these crappy excuses of why you're telling me you couldn't get it done. The answer is no, you need to get it done. I'm not here to hug it out with you, and I'm not here to no. In boy world, it's very different. Accountability is very I take it very seriously. So here's my encouragement. Find somebody here that will hold your feet to the flames. And I believe there's somebody here that will say, you know what, let's you and I become accountability partners and agree to hold each other's feet to the flames and agree that our priorities are going to be the same. And it's going to be as high a priority as feeding my children. And if you answer, yes, I fed my kids today, all right, then you have to answer, yes, I did my business part or whatever it is today. It has to be that high of a priority. Does that make sense? Am I saying it right? You guys get it or not? You guys can fire away. I mean, if there's anybody that's willing to start doing accountability agreements with each other here, I would certainly recommend it or find a way to get a hold of each other, because I'm telling you right now, accountability is the one thing people are missing that is a cure for what ails them. It's very, very strong. It's very, very true. And it's highly effective when you have an accountability partner that's going to hold your feet to the flames with an agreement that you agreed to. Because we all like to make agreements. We always like to say, well, I'm just going to start doing this. Well, guess what? If I don't have an accountability partner and I've made the decision myself, I'm very, very good at talking myself out of doing what I was supposed to do. Is anybody else like that? I can give myself the most perfect reasons why I don't want to do something, and I'll just start doing it maybe next week. I'll let myself off the hook so easy because I can give myself the perfect lies that work for me. My lies work on me really good. I buy them all the time. I'm like, yeah, Mark, you deserve this chocolate cake, right? No, I don't. But then I tell myself I do. I'm really good at justifying poor decisions in my mind, right? But if Jones is busting my chops and we both have to stand on the scale at the gym, right? I don't want to suffer that embarrassment. I don't want to suffer the wrath of Jones busting my chops. I don't want that. Not at all. And guess what? When I start doing that, I start getting a little competitive. And there's nothing more effective than a woman who's competitive. Now, if any of you have any competitive genes in there somewhere, you have an incredibly strong, you're like the mama lion, okay? Don't compete with me for food. Don't come alive, all right? But I tend to get pretty darn competitive. So if Jones and I make an accountability agreement, I tend to want to outdo him because I just do. Because my ego says, well, I'm going to outdo him. And then he thinks he's going to outdo me. Then I'm like, well, no, I'm going to outdo you. And we start playing this competitive game. So if any of you ladies are wired for competition or being competitive woman, and you find an accountability partner here to help you with your goals, y'all start outdoing each other. And it's a wonderful thing. So I'm sorry I gave you such a long, crazy answer, Serena.
That's okay. That was perfect. That was perfect. Exactly what I needed to hear. Thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody?
I'd like to just jump in for a second as being the only other boy here.
Yeah, Stuart, you get in here, buddy.
Okay. Well, welcome to Harem. I like to share because sharing is caring. I just want to say it's great to have you online, Mark. You know, when I first got into iPass and Empower, it was back in January this year, and you know, I kind of felt you know, hook, line, and sinker for you and Chris on the original iPass spiel, and I pretty much got in straight away, which is a fantastic effort for me. But what I really wanted to say is I just absolutely enjoy the passion that you and Chris have for helping other people and putting together a system with such passion to help other people be successful. And I think that's hugely important. And every time I hear you guys talk, whether it's training or in a situation like this, that passion comes through. You know, so if you can shoot off, you know, arrows left, right, and center, I love it. Because what it comes down to is that, you know, we're all in this together. We're at a high level. We're taking the action. We have jumped in to change our lives. And we want to feel that passion because we know it's inside us as well. Now, we went through the whole Wizard of Oz thing there today, and absolutely, we do have it all inside. And it's really just, in my opinion, just unleash it, you know. And the more we hear people like you having that passion, sitting in a serving position, how that you can serve other people to be successful. Really, the money will fall into place. Absolutely. We don't need to worry about that. What we do need to worry about is the passion that we've got, the system that we've got, which is just there for everybody to get on board with and change their life. And if people come in and they are enthusiastic like you are and Chris is and a couple other mentors that I've got, then that is fantastic. And if I can copy and model that, then I'm in the right place. And I just thank you for your time tonight. That's my little spiel today. Thank you very much.
Well, I appreciate that, Stuart. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Let me see if I can play this a little bit here. Let me see if I can. Can you guys hear this? I never have any fun, so you know. Thank you, Stuart, and I appreciate that shot in the arm. That is why we do what we do, and we're here to serve. And anytime we can lift you guys up, I'm telling you personally, when I can talk to y'all here, this actually inspires me, honestly. So. For me, this is very rewarding to visit with you guys, and that's why I humbly enjoy visiting with everybody and just share my heart and share my head and my opinion. So this is very therapeutic and as good for you guys as it is for me, and I really appreciate you guys having me on board. And for many of you, I would offer the ability to show up and help. If y'all have meetings like this on your own. Right now, I really enjoy that Sarita has us together as a group. So thank you to Sarita for doing this for us, because this is an example of a servant leader that she is, to be able to bring us together in a group like this. And I find myself, and again, Stuart, I'm not going after you, but I know I keep coming after you on this one. But a group of women together like this that's very, very strong is quite unstoppable. They tend to move. They have movements. I don't know if I'm saying it right. They have movements. That was a good one.
Yeah, but we don't talk about that.
Thank you. Exactly. They're very effective in moving groups of women together and empowering them as a group of ladies. At least that's how it is at my gym. Okay. The gym that my wife and I have is exclusively for women. Okay. We are all about mostly helping ladies with their fitness goals and helping most women If they're going through their life, they somehow it's common they lose their sexy feelings, so we help them get their sexy back. Okay, to put it mildly, but that's kind of our. I would say our gym is our ministry. As a Christian couple, we tend to preach it and teach it at the gym a lot. So that's kind of the source. That's kind of the source of what keeps me going is my Christianity, and it's what helps me stay plugged in and full of stuff to give out to the world. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Stuart, for the kind word.
I just want to quickly pop out. Just want to appreciate this. So super grateful for your honesty, and I can totally agree with the whole. I'm very much an empath anyway, but as women, we are maybe sometimes too nice to each other, and we're not telling each other the truth that needs to be told for people to really step up, you know, and step into their own leadership, step into themselves, and claim that wizard, you know. So I really, really, really appreciate you sharing that, because it is really powerful, because we are, I think, especially women, we've always been, even from small children, we've been taught to just be nice, you know, help mom with the dishes and keep smiling and make everyone happy and talk about the weather. But the truth is, if you really want to help your family, if you really want to feed your kids, sometimes that's not going to help. It's all up to you. You know, you got to step into the wizard, make it happen. And I really thank you, because we all got it in us, and I know how powerful we all are. And we've all been taught that we're not powerful. That's why we've got to have people like you come on who tell us the truth, because the truth is that we all have that wizard inside of us.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
I really am really, really, really grateful for you and for your honest, you know, and I loved your speech in Orlando, the whole hero speech, because, yeah, so many people are just like, their eyes are glazed over, and we've been taught by the media that it's okay to be like that, and I think it's not okay. And life can be pretty amazing, but you got to sometimes get some tough love and hear the truth, and you do it so well. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Serta. Yeah, I appreciate that. And sometimes as ladies, as moms, you start serving the family and serving everybody else, serving the children and serving your girlfriends and serving the community, and you forget about taking care of yourself, right? Anybody get that feeling? Okay. You get caught up and wrapped up in being a mom and being a family, stuff like that, that you start treating yourself as the last priority, right? So I would encourage you guys to consider thinking how much more effective you could be for your family or whatever. When you start treating yourself as a priority, then you become much better at being able to help them, okay? It's like a plane. If there's a problem on the plane, you're told you have to put on your own oxygen mask first, right? Because you cannot serve anybody else on the plane, your kids, if you don't have your own mask on to serve you first. You have to be the one taking the oxygen first to serve them better. But I understand you'd want to get the oxygen on your children first or your family first, but you have to be able to serve them and take care of yourself first. And when you can give yourself the luxury or the point of view of being the priority, all of a sudden you improve yourself much better to be able to serve the rest of the family or your girlfriends or whatever else is in your life. If you can make that little adjustment to take care of yourself first, you'll find that you're much more effective in serving them. And that's very, very true, Sarita. I definitely talk to groups of men much differently. I very much talk to groups of men much differently than I talk to groups of you guys as ladies. Very, very different. Now, I know some of you are like, well, what's he mean that he's going to be talking to me different? Because we're different. When you ladies say I don't have anything to wear, you actually mean you don't have anything new. When boys say I don't have anything to wear, it means I don't have anything clean. It's a very different, It's very different points of view. You know what I mean? You ladies are like, well, I got to go out tonight. We're going out on the town. I don't have anything to wear. Now, as a guy, I'm like, what do you mean you don't have anything? When Terry tells me she doesn't have anything to wear, I'm like, well, look at all the stuff in your closet. What are you talking about? You don't have anything to wear. Now, if she says that to you ladies, you know exactly what she's thinking, right? You guys are wired for empathy. You know, well, she doesn't have anything new. I don't have anything to wear either, girls, so let's all go shopping. When I tell a group of guys I don't have anything to wear, they're like, oh, really? Yeah, nothing clean either. We know what we're talking about, but so there's very, very different. So I tend to be exceptionally aggressive with men to the extent that I challenge them on everything, because men tend to rise to a challenge. And when I was on stage telling the men they need to be a men and they need to get their shit together, I take that serious, and they do. That would be a different talk. I'd be talking to men right now. I'd be telling them they need to get their shit together and start treating their women right. That's a different speech altogether. So thank you. Anybody else, anything on your mind? I would love to hear from you. I know it's this, again, room goes silent.
This is your chance, guys. Rise up, because Mark's got so much value to give. So
Yeah.
Well, I do want to say one thing real briefly. Can you hear me?
Yes.
yes, yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Well, I totally agree with doing anything and everything possible to feed your children. I mean, in this case, I don't know how much I can share with my situation, but I am in a situation, a stage in life that that I don't have a choice. So I am doing everything in my power possible to succeed in this business, because my main priority is my why, my little 3-year-old daughter. So I really needed to hear that, and I just wanted to say thank you, because I am in a place where I have no choice. If failure is not an option, I cannot afford to fail. I cannot afford to fall. I cannot afford to lose my child. I just cannot afford to it. So I would do anything and everything possible to make that happen. So I just wanted to say thank you, and I really stand with that right now.
Love that, Miriam.
Thank you, Miriam. That's a great point. I appreciate the kind words. That's very nice of you. There's nothing more motivating than having to kind of getting backed into a corner of having to make something work. That's about the biggest motivation you can have, is that there's no other options. You just have to make it work, right? When you have to make it work, you have to make it work, and that's the way it is. And that is one of the highest levels of motivation I've ever used. So I think you're, although it might not feel like it's very nice right now, it's probably the source of the biggest amount of motivation you could ever have to succeed. So I don't see really any other option but for you to succeed. You know what I mean? And you're in a darn good spot, like I say, with this group of ladies and family here. You're in a pretty good spot. So thank you for the kind words.
Can I ask a question on behalf of Elizabeth, please?
Yes.
Yeah. Elizabeth said she's got a family close by who are asleep, so she didn't want to ask. Elizabeth says, when she begins to feel overwhelmed, Mark, what can she do effectively to reset her mindset before the negativity takes hold? What would you recommend?
Yeah. Is Elizabeth?
Yeah, she's on here, but she can't speak at the moment.
Okay, Elizabeth, do you have wine? Are you able to drink wine? You have wine? Sometimes a glass of wine before you start talking is like, that's like the purr. I'm kidding. But yeah, what do you do before you hit the spiral, right? Okay, and I'll tell you what I do, if that's okay. I can tell you what I do. Is my ego took me a long time to figure this one out, okay? Because I thought I could get myself out of anything, and any despair or any feelings of overwhelmed, I would just think, well, get over it. You know, I'll just get over it. I'll be able to get out of this myself, right? Okay. So when I would go through starting to see this spiral of overwhelmed and despair coming, my ego would allow that to happen, because I thought to myself I could get out of anything, right? I just thought I could just snap out of it. Well, with more wisdom and checking my ego a little bit as a dude, it's very hard for us. It's a little bit easier for the ladies, but here's my encouragement. As soon as you start feeling down, as soon as these feelings just start creeping in, okay? As soon as that happens, here's my recommendation. There is nothing better in the women's world than to reach out to girlfriends and let that out. Reach out to anybody here that would be willing to be a friend, a listening ear, someone who's gone through whatever it is that you're going through, and reach out to them right away. I would say don't delay. Reach out to somebody right away if you start seeing yourself falling down that slippery slope of despair. Does that make sense? That helps. Now, for me, I had to learn that one. That one was a tough lesson to learn. Okay. But what I've learned is that when I see my other friends or family or co-workers in despair, I tend to jump down in that hole with them. And they're like, well, what are you doing down here? I go, I think I've been in this hole before. I know the way out, so I can be here to help you get out. So I think there's not much better than having, in this case, another girlfriend to reach out to when you feel yourself sliding down that slope, is my opinion on that. Does anybody else have anything to say on that as far as opinions?
I think that's so powerful. That is just so powerful because, you know, I sometimes that's something that I've always encouraged folks. You know, those of us we have a group of us that get together to encourage each other in the process of those that are really wanting to go black, right? Getting the Black Card Club. You guys know we have this. And as part of that, I'm always encouraging. It's that same thing of saying, you know, when you can catch that negative thought and immediately snap into the positive. That's, you know, for those of you, for the language that has gone through my training, that's exactly what Mark is talking about. So thank you so much. I so appreciate you bringing that up. It's so really, really powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. The problem is it's absolutely a challenge. It's very, very easier said than done. Because sometimes when you're in a funk and all of a sudden you start having despair thoughts, they tend to spiral pretty darn quick, okay? Now, I can be completely transparent with you guys here, can I? And Elizabeth, I'm going to kind of drive it home here for you. If you don't mind, I'm just going to speak my honest heart and my truth, okay? Mm-hmm. This is where it's different, Mark world versus company world. So you guys are going to see Mark world right now. That's what I'm trying to drive at. It's not like a company sponsored opinion. My only source right now for my despair is praying to Jesus Christ and God. Okay. When I'm feeling down and I need someone to help me out, I turn to God, meaning the Lord. Okay? That's who I turn to. And I find that as a Christian man, when I'm in hurting or despair or anything like that, there is nothing more comforting. There is nothing that makes me feel better than when you have a protective father that puts his arms around you and says, you're going to be fine. There is no better feeling than having the feeling of protection. And when somebody is the protection and the provider and they put their arms around you and hug you and pull you in and tell you you're going to be fine. My Christianity is my source of that. Now, I don't know if you're Christian, Elizabeth. I don't know if that's even an option for you. I don't know if that's something you reach out to. But I'm encouraging everybody that is an enormous source of instant cure for despair for me. Okay, does that make sense? I'm just trying to be honest with everybody here and just tell you where I come from. When I'm in pain and I'm hurting, okay, I'm like, we have arguments from time to time. I'm like, really? But he's like, no, you'll be fine. Okay? This is temporary. You guys, I do not pray for lighter burdens. I pray for stronger shoulders. Okay? And that's my sense of relief. When I can have prayer time and reach out to God, I find that's an instant source of relief. Does that make sense? If I'm saying it right, I know not everybody's on board with my point of view, but I just wanted to share with you my heart to let you know that that is an instant source of inspiration, motivation, help, and all of my despair goes away right away with prayer and belief and faith that there's bigger things to come. And if I'm having despair, my opinion on it now is that it's a test, and that all good things come to those who will be able to persevere through the test, and that will be given a bigger reward based on the amount of test we're having. So my opinion is that the more struggle I went through and the more despair I went through, the bigger the reward that was coming my way. And I totally believe that, and I'm an example of that. Okay? That's my take on it. So I just wanted to transfer.
And anyone with any different beliefs, I think it's all about being humble, as well. Being humble. Like I do pray every day. We all have different beliefs here, but just knowing that, to me, like knowing that putting your ego in the bin is a huge one, and listening to people that, you're going to listen to Mark today, and reaching out to people and having like an accountability partner, knowing that you don't have to do it all on your own, just knowing that you can reach out, and that, if you believe in a higher power, whatever that may be, like I do, I pray every day and I ask for help every day, but whatever it may be, it doesn't matter, because it's just about being humble and you don't have to know it all, but as long as you be humble enough to reach out, and having that saying, I'm stuck, reach out, and I've always reached out from the very beginning, and I think that's part of why I've been doing quite well in the business, because I didn't have the ego to say, oh, I don't, so many people just don't reach out. It's just like, reach out if you're stuck. That's one of the most basic things that a lot of people just don't do. Just reach out wherever you are in life. Reach out, ask for help wherever you are at. We're all here for each other, support each other in the business. It is family. For me, it's family. I don't have family here in Australia. I'm from Germany originally, so Empower is my family. It's my second family. And
I just like I would like to say just to back up what Mark says, that it took me a couple of some of you know me quite well, and those people who know my story, you come to a stage where you actually appreciate that you're indestructible. You thought you were, and then you suddenly find out that you're not, and then you think, oh yeah, I'll snap out of it. And I absolutely agree with Mark when he said that before. That's a big thing for a guy to turn around and say, oh, I'll be all right, because I was very much like that. But my experiences have shown me that I had to reach out, and I got into these positions where I couldn't get out of it myself, and it took me a while to get to that stage to reach out. And whether it's reaching out to the higher power, whether it's God or whoever it is for you, it doesn't matter. It's the reaching out is important, because that brings in a new perspective. That brings in a new path forward. It's something that you can't see yourself, because you're on that slippery slope to oblivion. Somebody else can bring in that little way out. Oh, there's a step up. I can get around this slope. I can get off that slope and get back up to where I was. And that just comes down to reaching out. So, we're not indestructible. You can do as much as you can, but never, never, ever feel bad about reaching out, because, the more you get together, the easier it becomes. And I appreciate being part of this group, and I appreciate Mark today as well. Thanks for that.
And I don't want to actually take too much of Mark's time, since it is Thanksgiving, and I really, 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 really do appreciate having him come on today, because it is a massive holiday in the States. So I'm just really grateful he could come on. He's an amazing, amazing person, very inspired by him. And, his passion and his tough love, because we need more of that in the world. You know, I think a lot of people's eyes are just glazed over by, you know, we don't ever talk about the truth. And if you really want to change your life, you've got to get a little bit of tough love in sometimes. So I really appreciate you for coming out and serving us, and have an amazing Thanksgiving. So thank you.
I will. You guys are awesome. So let me leave you with this one more time, and then I'll wrap it up. And you guys, thank you so much for allowing me to visit with you. As I said, by the power vested in me, go out and be the wizard, and know that today had to happen, or today that was supposed to happen. Okay, and enjoy this. So enjoy this as we go off and sing. We're off to be the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz, because of the wonderful things I done.
The wonderful Wizard of Oz.
I love it. Thank you, Mom.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Love it, love it.
Jaws, Jaws.